Hi there, this is Scott Hutchison with Purdue University and the Purdue Agile Strategy Lab. And I wanted to share with you in this video an insight that we've gained from a pretty unusual place. So my colleagues and I wrote a book just a few weeks ago, Strategic Doing, 10 Skills for Agile Leadership, and the foreword is by Yo-Yo Ma. Now, you might be wondering, if you haven't read the book yet, why would a virtuoso cellist write a foreword to a book about strategy? Well, there's a good reason, and that's where that insight comes. So we've worked with Yo-Yo on a project, and he was really drawn to our work, and we were, of course, fans of his. But one of the things that we learned when we began to get to know Yo-Yo is that there is something that sets apart a virtuoso musician like Yo-Yo from mere mortals, even those of us who might be musicians of some sort. And it is this cognitive ability that people like Yo-Yo have to think both into the future and into the past as they play. So a virtuoso musician like Yo-Yo is anticipating the very next note, and not even just the note, but the beginning and the middle and the end of the note. And they're also getting feedback from the note that they just played, and their ear can pick up on these subtleties so they can make these infinitesimal changes to the pressure of the bow, the way in which they press on the strings, and a myriad of other variables that come into play in making that beautiful sound. It's what sets apart not only elite musicians, but also other kinds of elite performers. Race car drivers, for instance, if you think about what they have to do, they have to be constantly looking forward and looking back and making adjustments, or if they're not able to, terrible things can happen. But that's not an ability that most of us have. And even in those people like great race car drivers, great musicians, they only are able to apply that toggling of the mind back and forth in very minuscule amounts of time. Each of us, however, is characterized mostly by being able to think about the future and let our thinking about the future inform what we do today. And others of us are more well suited to think about the past and let that inform our actions for today. We call that feed-forward thinking, when you're looking to the future, that's informing what you're doing today, or feedback thinking, where you're looking at historical performance and that informs what you are going to do today. So what does that have to do with strategy? Well, in strategy, we need to do both. We need to both look to the future, and we need to both get feedback and make adjustments from the past. Now, chances are in your organization or your community or even your regional economy, when you see conflict, it is often a conflict of those two different perspectives, because you literally have people looking in different directions. You have people who are focused on the past, and that informs the way in which they think about the present. And then you have those who are thinking about the present, or thinking about the future rather, and that informs their view of the present. You can see it in political slogans. They're usually focused on the future or focused on what was great in the past and bringing that back together. And you see conflict because people are looking at the present from different perspectives. We usually think that's a bad thing, and it can be a bad thing. It can cause impasse, and you're just not able to move. I decided to shoot this video in black and white because it's kind of black and white. You see black, and I see white, right? It's difficult for us to convince one another that, no, it's black. No, it's white. It's like those two internet things that were popular a year or so ago, where there was the dress and it was either gold or blue, or was the name and it was even Yanni or Laurel, I think. It was difficult to convince someone who heard Yanni that it was really Laurel. So we run into that kind of conflict all the time. But here is the insight. We need both. We need both feed forward people and feedback thinking people. But it's not just enough to get them in the room together, because again, it's almost like they're speaking a different language. They can see past one another. You've probably experienced that when people butt heads like that. But you also need a strategy discipline that takes the best of both of those perspectives and helps people co-create a strategy together. And that's what we've developed with strategic doing. And we have a partner, Human Insight, based in the Netherlands, who deals with this notion of cognitive diversity. And they've been really helpful in helping us understand some of those dynamics, like feed-forward thinking and feedback thinking. In fact, they have some wonderful tools and assessments and insights that can help illustrate that. You can figure out which you are. And we think that's an important part of strategy as well. So how can you learn more? Well, you can pick up this book if you haven't. I want to read to you just the last couple of sentences of Yo-Yo's forward. So Yo-Yo Ma says, strategic doing is precisely what we need at this moment. In a fast-changing world filled with disruption and with institutions not equipped to absorb or deal with the fast pace of change, here is a way of thinking and acting. An agile strategy that makes collaboration take place at the necessary speed for social good. So you can learn more about these insights by picking up our book and reading about the 10 skills of agile leadership. Or you can take an even deeper dive and attend one of our 2.5-day trainings. We do these several times a year. I think we have one on the calendar every month. For at least the rest of this year, and we do it in lots of different places. So you can go to strategicdoing.net and look at our events page and find one of those trainings, and we'd love to see you there. And of course, you can pick up the book at any of your resellers. Thanks.